Hello everyone and welcome to the one-of-a-kind deck challenge, which will be featuring Pokedecks, also known as Razark in the online game. I'm sure you guys will enjoy this. It's a very unique challenge where we're only able to utilize a single card. We're only allowed to have a maximum of a single card of a given type. So for example, I can only run a single Seismitoad, a single Zerasik, a single Skylet. So I think it's a pretty cool challenge. We're gonna see how things go. I'm hoping that I'll be able to win this game. That would absolutely be nice, but never know how things are going to start off. Alright, so it looks like I'm going to start off with a Seismitoad EX and a Mewtwo EX, and looks like our opponent has decided to run a dark type of deck as well. So I'm going to start off by using the Pokemon Fan Club. I think having a Darkrai EX and Keldeo EX are nice to have in our bench just because I'll be able to freely retreat in between our Pokemon. So let's go and start off by bringing these two onto our bench. The Sharpedo EX does have the lightning weakness, so actually maybe grabbing onto Pikachu would have been a pretty good option as well. But let's go and attach a Darkness Energy card onto that Seismitoad EX. Use that Dive Ball, and I'm going to go and actually bring out a Clamperl as well. Could actually be a very powerful Pokemon with its powerful Storm attack. Now, the main reason for my inclusion for both the Raichu and the Clamperl is that in the off chance that the opponent does run a Pyroar in their deck, I absolutely would not want an auto loss. So I just thought it would be nice to include those two Pokemon in our deck. Looks like the opponent is going to start off with the Great Ball to look for the Mega Absol EX right away. Okay, so that Mega Absol EX can possibly do a whole ton of damage to us. So absolutely a Pokemon that I'm going to have to look out for. I think I'm probably going to use the Skyla during our next turn to look for a computer search. I do want to get the item lock going right away because of course that is the forte of the Seismitoad EX. Okay, looks like I'm actually going to be able to draw onto a Rainbow Energy. So let's go and latch that on to that Seismitoad EX. Gonna use that Skyla to look for some sort of draw supporter card, which I will of course be making use of during our next turn. So I'm just trying to see, there's a lot of different draw supporter cards that I do have in my deck. So I think using a Professor Birch's observation would be a pretty good option for the most part. So let's actually go and grab that one out and then use the Quaking Punch to essentially lock out our opponent's ability from being able to make use of any of their item cards. Steven is a very unique supporter card, might actually work quite well since we're only restricted to a single type of supporter card per game, so that actually is quite helpful. I believe I have Skyla in my deck as well, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, sorry. It's in my discard pile, what am I saying? Yeah, but Skyla is another really nice supporter card, especially since it can allow us to grab onto a whole ton of unique cards. We're probably going to be seeing that Mega Absol EX make its appearance. I actually have about 30 trainer cards or so in my deck, so it's about a 50-50 probability that the Mega Absol EX would reveal the top card of my deck as being some sort of trainer card. So hopefully it flips more tails than heads, but of course we never know what's going to happen. Alright, so trying to think if I would like to use the Ultra Ball. You know what, I think I will actually go and use it to get rid of the escape rope. No, actually I like escape rope. It can actually work as sort of a makeshift Lysander, especially since I'm only restricted to a single copy of Lysander and VS Seeker in the deck. So I'm actually going to go and get rid of the Zerasik and the Raichu. I could use Raichu as a Pokemon to get rid of a Sharpedo EX, but again we do have the item log going, so you know what, let's actually go and send that Raichu into that discard pile as well. Look for that Muna. I could use it absolutely to try and put the opponent under the sleep condition, and of course if I happen to fail, then I have the Keldeo EX which can rush in and then retreat freely due to that Darkrai EX. So let's actually go and bring out a Muna for now. Gonna go and use that Professor Birch's observation, and it looks like we're gonna flip a Tails. That is actually quite likely to happen with Professor Birch's observation for whatever reason. Sacred Ash, I only have a Raichu in that discard pile, so I'm actually gonna go and look for the AZ. Could pay off. I could hit that Pokemon with the Grenade Hammer, but it would still be 10 HP short from us being able to knock it out. So let's actually go and attach a Double Colors Energy to that Mewtwo EX and then keep the Quaking Punch going for now, hitting that Sharpedo EX for 30 damage once again. Probably gonna have to use the Juniper during our next turn. Unfortunately, that will send our AZ into the discard pile. I feel like AZ is a pretty nice card as well. especially if I have a very badly damaged Pokemon. We're going to see Malamar EX make its appearance. I believe I had initially included Malamar EX in my deck. I think I scrapped it out from the deck. I don't exactly remember, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I had actually scrapped it out to make room for the Sacred Ash, just because I wanted to reuse some of the Pokemon that I felt would ultimately be a little bit more useful. But we'll see how things go. So hopefully we don't see an additional. Okay, so we're gonna see an energy card getting latched on to that Sharpedo EX, so we may actually start seeing it attack relatively soon. I can't knock out that Sharpedo EX, so I'm actually gonna go and attach a Darkness energy card onto that Caldera EX, because now I'm going to try and start hitting our opponent with the long distance hypnosis. Let's go and use that Juniper to get some new cards in our hand. Headringer, that Absol EX. Very happy that I decided to include that in our deck. Let's go and bring out the Rough Sea Stadium card as well. Bring that Seismitoad EX's HP back to full, and then we're going to go and use that long distance hypnosis. Looks like we're going to get a head, so that is quite awesome. Let's go and use that Quaking Punch and keep that item lock going. I didn't really want to use the the computer search, because I could of course use it to get rid of some of the energy cards and look for, say, the muscle band. Okay, it looks like we're going to see a Silent Lab and our Muna getting lured out, so now would be as good of a time as any to really make use of the computer search. I would absolutely be crushed if our Muna is unable to freely retreat. So I'm actually going to go and use it to get rid of the Sacred Ash and a Water Energy card. Let's actually go and get rid of the Darkness Energy card for now. We should have another Stadium card in our deck. Yes, there we go, the Shadow Circle. I'm going to go and lay that down. And I'm trying to think who I would like to attach my next energy card to. I could knock out that Sharpedo EX, but I would like to keep the item lock going, so I'm going to go and attach a Darkness energy card onto that Darkrai EX for now. Let's go and use that Shauna for some new cards in our hand. Awesome, looks like we have a Huntail, could actually hit for a whole ton of damage. I'm going to go into Rush In. Let's go into Retreat to bring out that Seismitoad EX, hitting our opponent with a Quaking Punch one more time and keeping him asleep. So I'm sure our opponent is getting a little bit bummed out at this point. Seems like our deck is actually performing quite well, even though we're only restricted to a single copy of each type of card in our deck. That Malamar EX is going to put our Seismitoad EX to sleep, but luckily for us, we are able to simply rush in and then retreat. So I'm going to go and attach a Darkness energy card to the Darkrai EX. Taking a look at my discard pile, if there's any cards I would like to put back. Not at the moment, so I'm actually going to go and use the Bianca instead. I do have the Heart Charm, which I could latch onto a Seismitoad EX, but I'm going to hold off on that for now. Let's actually go into Rush In, Retreat, bring out that Seismitoad EX once again, and then hit up our opponent with that Quaking Punch for the 30 damage. And my goodness, looks like our poor opponent is getting extremely unlucky about with respects to the flips, so I definitely am feeling for him there. That Sharpedo EX has been unable to do anything whatsoever. That Mega Absol EX still requires at least one more energy card for it to be able to attack due to that Headringer. Looks like we're going to see a Tails again on the opponent's. Oh no, sorry, that was actually Tails on my end, but again, I'm able to rush in and retreat. So let's go and attach a Darkness energy card to that Darkrai EX. I could use the Escape Rope, which I think would actually be a pretty good option, because our Darkrai EX would be able to snipe off one of the opponent's bench Pokemon. So let's actually go and use that, force the opponent to retreat that Sharpedo EX, and then bring out his next attacker. Looks like it is going to be the Malamar EX. Again, I'm taking a look at this point if there's any cards I would like to return back into my deck. Juniper is looking pretty good right now. Zerasek, no. Juniper and Professor Birch's Observation, maybe Skyla. Let's actually go, and Juniper is definitely going to be one of the cards I would like to shuffle back into my deck. And Professor Birch's Observation, yeah, I think that's a pretty solid option as well. Let's go and use that Acrobike. Silver Bangle, I do have the Huntail, which could potentially hit a lot of damage, but I think the Bicycle would probably be a bit of a better option. Let's go and latch the Heart Charm onto that Darkrai EX, use the Bicycle for some new cards in our hand. To have the Muscle Band as well, so that is kind of nice. Let's go and use that Long Distance Hypnosis. What are we going to get? We're going to get a Heads. Let's go and use that Night Spear, hitting that Malamar EX for 90 damage, and that Sharpedo EX for 30 damage as well, to be able to draw onto those first two prize cards. My goodness, I'm actually starting to feel really bad for Pokedecks right now. At this point, it almost seems as though the game is rigged to my favor. keeps flipping the tails. I mean, those poor Malamar EXs, those Sharpedo EXs. Hopefully we see a switch on the opponent's end or something. I mean, I feel like it's just unfair at this point that he really hasn't been able to do anything to us whatsoever. We're going to see the energy switch, and it looks like that Malamar EX is going to have one of the energy cards retracted from it. Do have a Lysander in our hand, so that is kind of nice. I'm probably going to keep it there for the time being because it could potentially allow us to get a massive one-hit knockout on one of the opponent's Pokemon. So I feel like I should keep it there just for some safekeeping measures. Probably gonna latch on the Darkness Energy card onto that Mewtwo EX. And yeah, so I think that is going to be how I pretty much end our turn. So let's go and use the Night Spirit attack, knocking out that Malamar EX, and then hitting that Mega Absol EX for 30 damage as well to be able to draw onto 2 more prize cards. Hopefully the opponent is eventually able to snatch up at least one of their prize cards. I mean, I feel like that at the very least Pokemon can do now is give him that sort of sincerity. We're going to see the teammates card, so I'm sure that's going to be very, very helpful to our opponent. Given the fact that our opponent is only able to run a single N in his entire deck, I think we should be relatively safe. I doubt we're going to be seeing it unless, of course, the opponent uses the teammates to grab a VS Seeker, because we already see that N in the discard pile. And hopefully my next card is going to be an energy card or a Pokemon card, because I don't really want our Darkrai EX to get hit for a massive 140 damage, because we do have the Heart Charm, of course, latched on to it. So just taking his time looking for the best 2 cards with the teammates. Unfortunately, of course, I'm unable to see either of those cards. We're going to see Muscle Band, the Yveltal EX, getting rid of a whole ton of energy cards, of a whole ton of tool cards attached to our Pokemon. And awesome, looks like we're actually going to have our next card discarded as a Water Energy card, which have been really good, allowing that Huntail to hit for tons and tons of damage. But trying to see what I would like to do at this point, guys. I could Lysander out that Yveltal EX, and if the opponent doesn't have a Darkness Energy card, but I'm pretty sure he has something useful. So you know what, let's actually go and use the Charon instead to draw onto some additional cards. Alright, let's go and finally bring out that Huntail into action. I have quite a few energy cards, but I don't think it's enough. So 6, 120... Actually, I think that is just enough to be able to knock out that Mega Absol EX. So let's go and bring out that Huntail, use the Powerful Storm attack for 200 damage, and that is going to be game. So just saying GG to my opponent. Sorry, I actually didn't realize that that was going to be the game. So I'm going to go and challenge him again. Again, just keep in mind, guys, that this is the best 2 out of 3 games. So let's go and send the challenge to our opponent once again. Hopefully this next match is going to be a little bit more, a little less one-sided, actually, I would say. But we'll see how things go. Alright, so let's see which one of us are going to be able to start off first this time. Gonna go for the heads this time, and looks like that is going to be me. I'm just getting really, really lucky with the coin flips, I have to say. So I apologize to you, Pokedecks. I really, really do, because even I personally feel like this is a little bit of a ridiculous matchup right now. But unfortunately, that's just how things go on the PTCGO sometimes, and even in real life, I've seen some ridiculous coin flips. So let's see what our opponent is going to be able to bring out. Okay, so we're going to both start off with the Yveltal, so that's kind of nice. Let's go and attach that Darkness Energy card to him. I'm going to go and get rid of a Darkness Energy card and the AZ as well to look for the Pikachu this time around. I think I'm actually going to want to make use of it because our opponent is running both Yveltal and the Yveltal EX. And now that I've trimmed down our hand, let's go and use that Bianca for some new cards. Do you have the Acrobike? Yeah, I think I'm going to go and use it to see what we have in stock for us. The Headringer, I don't really think we're going to see Darkrai EX attacking a whole lot, so I think I'm going to go for the Muscle Band instead. Let's go and latch that on to that Yveltal, and that is going to be how we end the turn. Just going to wish our opponent good luck, because I felt like it was bad sportsmanship that I didn't say GG during our last game, even though, of course, I'm sure there was no sort of offense taken to it, and my message wasn't sending for some reason. Let's try again and again. No, it doesn't seem like my messages are being sent. Okay, yes, finally we actually see one getting sent through to the opponent. He has the Heart Charm latched onto it. We have the Muscle Band, so we're both going to be essentially hitting each other for 30 damage. We'll see how that works out. Alright, we're seeing a Muscle Band getting latched onto that Darkrai EX. A Shadow Circle as well. Pretty wise choice on the opponent's part, of course, because that is going to nullify the Raichu's one-hit knockout capabilities. Let's go and bring out the Raichu, a Clamperl onto our bench as well. Use that Charon for some new cards in our hand. I could recycle the Bianca and the Charon, put them back into our hand if that's what I really wanted, but I don't think I do really need any of those right now. I think I do want to knock out that Yveltal, so I'm going to go and attach an additional Darkness Energy card onto our own Yveltal. Should be able to knock him out during our next turn. Let's go and use Oblivion Wing, hitting that Yveltal for 30 damage, and then I'm going to go and attach a Darkness Energy card onto that Raichu, and that is going to be how we end our turn. I think I'm probably going to use the Palpad and the Professor Juniper during our next turn as well to get a fresh new hand. And yeah, so I think that is probably going to be how we go about during our next turn, but I should be able to knock out our opponent's Pokemon using the Darkness Blade attack. His Darkrai EX is not, I hope it's not able to attack, but maybe that Headringer would have been a pretty good option as well. But if I had gone for the Headringer instead, then there's absolutely no way I would have been able to knock out our opponent's Yveltal during my next turn. So we'll see how things go. Alright, we're gonna see a Pokemon fan club. I have one of those in my deck as well. So for the most part, I feel like me and Pokedecks are really thinking similarly. I mean, we see Darkrai EX, Yveltal, Keldeo EX, Kangaskhan EX, not a Pokemon that I'm running in my deck. Evosoda, I think I had one in my deck. Trainer's Mail, I absolutely have one of those in my deck as well. And it looks like we're gonna see a Sharpedo EX and a Jirachi EX. Alright. Currently getting hit for 30 damage once again. That Darkrai EX is almost loaded up and ready to go. Let's go and bring out the Mewtwo EX onto our bench. I'm going to go and attach an additional Darkness Energy card onto that Yveltal EX. Let's go and use that Palpad. I'm going to bring that Bianca back into our deck. And no, actually, Bianca is not all that great of a card. So let's actually go and grab onto that Charon and the AZ. Use that Juniper for some new cards in the hand. Bring down the Seismitoad EX as well. And then let's go and use that Darkness Blade attack to get our first prize card of the game. I'm sure our opponent will be able to knock out our Yveltal as well with that Darkrai EX. I mean, there's almost no question in my mind that that is going to be what's coming to us next. But at this point, I'm gonna have to think with respect to what I'd like to, which of our Pokemon I'd like to bring out, which is probably almost definitely going to be that Raichu. It does have the free retreat cost, so I can absolutely use it and switch in between our Pokemon. Darkrai EX can currently hit for a massive 110 damage, so things are looking a lot better for Pokedecks this time around. I mean, last game was just extremely one-sided. I don't think he was even able to snatch up a single prize card, if I remember correctly. We're gonna see a Jamming Net getting latched onto that Mewtwo EX and a Headringer onto that Seismitoad EX. Alright, so it looks like our opponent's coming at us very aggressively this time around. Okay, only have the Yveltal in our discard pile. Would be quite foolish of me to make use of that card just yet. Haven't actually seen any double colorless energies or anything like that, so I'm actually going to go and use that computer search, get rid of that double colorless energy, and the Shaman EX, I'm not sure. I feel like it could be a bit of a liability, and I have quite a few cards in our hand already, so you know what, let's actually go and get rid of that as well, and I'm going to see what I would like to draw into, guys. Hopefully something useful. Alright, so I could look for the Muna, but then of course I would need both the Darkrai EX and the Keldeo EX to really make it work effectively. The Pokemon Center Lady Bicycle, and not really sure if there's a whole lot of good cards, good options for me right here. And I think our Yveltal EX is unfortunately prized during this game. Just taking another quick look, but yeah, I think that is the case. Alright, so this is not good by any means, guys. I mean, an energy card would be good, would allow our Raichu to potentially hit for a fair amount of damage. So I think that's probably what I'm going to look for. So a Darkness Energy, I know it's not exactly a fantastic card to draw into, but let's go and grab it out regardless. Let's go and attach that to that Raichu. I could Lysander out that Sharpedo EX and then lay down the Rough Sea Stadium card, hitting it for quite a bit of damage. And weakening it up, but there's a good chance that our Clamperl may lose its life as well. So do I want to evolve him into the Huntail? I'm really thinking. I mean, our Raichu will be getting knocked out in a single attack from the opponent's Darkrai EX, unless of course he has no more energy cards in his hand. So trying to think right now, guys. Alright, so first of all, I'm definitely going to get rid of that Shadow Circle, and I could simply heal off that Clamperl. I'm so foolish. Really, really not thinking right now, guys. And I could Lysander out that Sharpedo EX, but I think I'm going to go and use the Professor Birch's Observation instead and flip the tails, of course. So let's go and use that Circle Circuit, hitting that Darkrai EX for a mere 60 damage. And he will be able to knock us out during the next turn. It looks like we're going to see a Great Ball getting used, and the Yveltal EX is the Pokemon that our opponent is going to be able to snatch up. Would have loved to have it in our deck, guys, just because it is ideally the main attacker of our deck, just because it's so powerful. And we have all these ringers and all these other Team Flare tools attached to our Pokemon, so things are not looking good for us right now. I feel like we may be going on to a game 3. I mean, that Darkrai EX is looking pretty menacing right now. So maybe my focus shouldn't have been on getting rid of the opponent's active Yveltal. That may have been a regrettable decision, but it's a little too late for me to really think about that. At the very least, given the fact that both me and the opponent don't run a whole ton of, a whole ton of, Lysanders and VS Seekers, we should be safe for the most part. I feel like our Clamperl is almost definitely going to get knocked out. I mean, I've already used one of our... I mean, our Rough Sea Stadium card had already been used. So let us go and attach an energy card onto that Mewtwo EX. Yeah, let's actually go and do that. And then I'm going to go and use the Colress for some new cards in our hand. Let's go and use that Ultra Ball. I could bring out the Huntail and... but there would be no point. I mean, our Clamperl would be getting knocked out anyways, unless of course I attach the Float Stone to him and then bring out the Seismitoad EX as our active Pokemon instead. Yeah, I think Keldeo EX would probably be the better option. I mean, I do have the Float Stone attachment, which I could latch onto it. So let's go and bring him out and attach that. And with that, we're going to go and end the turn. Have the Charon, that's probably the card that I will be using during our next turn. Yeah, so I feel like this time around, the favor of the game is definitely in our opponent. We're not doing all that great thus far, and we've already seen quite a few of our energy cards going into that discard pile as well, so that's a bit unfortunate, but that's just how things are. So let's see what our opponent decides to do. If he has a Lysander, he can definitely make the most out of that Darkrai EX's Night Spear attack, because of course he would be able to inflict a whole ton of damage on one of my Pokemon and simultaneously knock out the Clamperl. But again, luckily for us, he's not running a whole ton of cards, so that definitely is going... I mean, sorry, he's not running our opponent's not running a whole ton of Lysanders or anything like that, so that is absolutely going to work in our favor. Let's go and use that Charon for some new cards in our hand. Okay, so we do have a Darkrai EX, so at this point the Float Stone is not really required to be attached onto our Pokemon, but it's just nice to attach onto it regardless. Shadow Circle would be pretty good, because of course our Pokemon special abilities are currently nullified, but that may actually work against our opponent as well. Currently that Mewtwo EX still can attack. It does have the... oh, sorry, it's actually the Jamming Net. I thought it was the Headringer. Yeah, so let's go and grab onto that, and I feel like that is going to be the most helpful card of the bunch. Let's go and lay down a Darkrai EX as well. Attach the Darkness Energy card onto that Mewtwo EX, and then bring it out. Let's go and hit that Darkrai EX for 80 damage, I believe. 60 damage, oh my god. I forgot about the resistance and the Jamming Net, just doing a massive number on us. But at the very least, our Mewtwo EX is able to survive for one turn, if that's any sort of consolation. It's not really a lot of consolation, but it's still something, you know. And I could definitely make use of that end card during our next turn to lower the number of cards in our opponent's hand. Looks like we're going to see Mega Absol EX. No Absol EX on our opponent's field just yet, and even if there was, I don't think our opponent would really want to bring out that Mega Absol EX, because it would force him to give up one of his turns, given the fact that there is, of course, no Spirit Link to go along with those Mega Absols. So let's see what our opponent decides to do. Looks like he's simply going to attack with that Darkrai EX. I was thinking we may have actually seen him retreat to bring out that Sharpedo EX instead, but looks like that wasn't really going to be the case. Yeah, let's go and bring some of our discarded Pokemon back into our deck. The Pikachu, Clamperl, the Raichu, and the Yveltal as well. Shaman EX, actually, let's actually bring all of them back into our deck. There'd absolutely be no point of me using the Pokemon Center Lady Our Mewtwo EX would be getting knocked out from the Sharpedo EX anyway, so let's go and use that N for some new cards in our hand. We have a Pikachu. Yeah, I guess let's, should I actually undo that? It could get sniped out, but of course the opponent would need a Lysander, and of course we're going to be able to knock out that Darkrai EX during this turn, so I think our Pikachu should be safe for the most part. Let's go and use that X-Ball attack, knocking out that Darkrai EX, and of course the opponent has the EXP share latched onto that Sharpedo EX, so that will allow him to snatch one of those energy cards from that Darkrai EX and then bring them onto that Sharpedo EX. I'm gonna definitely bring out the Caldio EX as our active Pokemon. Do have to keep in mind that the Silent Lab Stadium card is at play. I mean, otherwise it wouldn't have really made a difference, but in this case it really does. So the Sharpedo EX also has the Hunt attack that allows him to target some of my bench Pokemon, so it could actually be a very, very troubling Pokemon for us to deal with. I do have the Clamperl in our hand. Again, the Yveltal EX though is really the Pokemon that I would have loved to have been able to snatch from my prize cards. Unfortunately, I think we've pretty much lost the game. I don't think there's a whole lot left we can do to make any sort of comeback, but maybe it's still a little bit too early for me to be calling it quits. But again, things are not looking all that great for us right now. But that Pikachu could potentially knock out that Sharpedo EX in a single attack, so that's definitely something positive. So it looks like the opponent's going to be able to grab onto a Steven, use it. That will allow him to both look for a new supporter card, and of course, okay, it looks like it's going to be a Skyla, and of course an energy card. Alright, so looks like that Yveltal EX is the next Pokemon that our opponent wants to start loading up, and our Mewtwo EX is going to get knocked out. Our opponent only requires a single prize card to be able to win. Let's go and bring out the Caldio EX. I think grabbing the N would absolutely be the best option at this point. Clamperl, let's go. Yeah, I mean, well, it could get actually lured out by their opponent's Sharpedo EX, so you know what, I think I'm actually going to undo that. And let's see what I would like to do. Let's go and attach that Heart Charm onto that Pikachu in case it does get lured out by the opponent's Hunt attack. I'm gonna go and use the Professor's Letter. Okay, looks like we mainly have Water Energy cards and some Darkness Energy cards remaining in our deck. So let's go and actually attach one of those to that Seismitoad EX. And then I'm gonna go and use that VS Seeker for the N. I think would be the best option, just to lower the number of cards in our opponent's hand to a single one. At the very least, that may prevent that Sharpedo EX from repeatedly being able to attack. Gonna hold off on the Shadow Circle, and then yeah, I think that's how we're gonna end our turn, guys. Not a whole lot more that I can really do. The opponent has two options. He can use the Hunt attack to lure out one of our bench Pokemon, or he could instead make use of that Jagged Fang attack to hit us for a lot of damage. So not really sure which of these options he's going to go with, but again, things are not looking really good for us. Our opponent only needs a single prize card to be able to win, and I think we've already used our Double Colors Energy, or it may actually be prized. I don't think I had seen it in our deck, so there's absolutely no way that our Pikachu can just get a massive one-hit knockout on the opponent. Alright, Shadow Circle would be good because it will allow us to switch in between our Pokemon. Well, both me and the opponent using the Caldio EXs with our Russian ability, so I think I'm going to go and lay down the Shadow Circle. Clamperl, it could just save the day, but we don't have really a whole lot of energy cards at play just yet, so I'm going to go and use that Shauna instead, get us some new cards in our hand. Let's go and attach a Darkness Energy card onto that Seismitoad EX, use that Bicycle for some new cards in our hand, and that's unfortunately how I'm going to have to end the turn once again. And let's see what the opponent decides to do. Again, I don't think I've seen him use a Lysander just yet. Yeah, so we haven't, but he only has two cards in his hand, so what are the odds of him having a Lysander in their hand? I do think though that we're probably going to be going on to a game 3. This has been a very, very, very good game, I have to say. Definitely not as one-sided as our very first game. I'm hoping that we'll be able to snatch up the last game in case our opponent does, of course, win this game, but it may still be a little bit too early to determine. It looks like we're going to see an energy switch. That Yveltal EX can hit our Darkrai EX for quite a bit of damage, and looks like we are going to see that Seismitoad EX getting dragged out by the Hunt attack. Okay, it looks like the opponent is definitely going very, very aggressively against us. Again, yeah, no, I don't think I should lay down that Clamperl. I think that's just a foolish mistake. Let's go and attach an additional Water Energy card onto that Seismitoad EX. I can finally get that Quaking Punch going. But of course, the opponent's Caldeo EX is able to freely retreat. Instead, I think I would rather make use of the Grenade Hammer attack when I do have the chance. Thinking, guys, I could use the Pokemon Fan Club. There's so many different options for me right now, but not none of them are really looking all that great right now. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start off with the Quaking Punch. Let's actually go and get rid of the. I could get rid of the Floatstone, but of course then the Sharpedo EX would still be able to freely retreat. Let's go and get rid of the Eviolite instead. Maybe getting rid of the Headringer would have been a better option, but let's just go and use the Quaking Punch, hitting that Sharpedo EX for 30 damage. Again, I'm at a loss of what to really do right now with respects to what would be the best situation. I'm really racking my brain trying to think, but the only sort of consolation that I do have is that I do have a Pokemon Center Lady, so that should hopefully at least stall for a little bit. I mean, that Yveltal EX can currently hit for 120 damage unless we see a Muscle Band and an additional energy card, or a double colors energy. Our Seismitoad EX should be able to survive the next attack. Okay, so it looks like the Darkrai EX is going to get attacked by the opponent's Sharpedo EX. I can rush in and bring out that Seismitoad EX once again. So I think that's what I'm gonna go and do. Let's go and use that Pokemon Fan Club, guys. I do have the Muna. I can start putting our opponent's Pokemon to sleep, but yeah, but I mean, that Caldeo EX is able to rush in on the opponent's end as well. So let's actually go and grab that Shaman EX and that Jirachi EX. Those will allow me to look for some additional cards in our deck. So let's go and start off by that Jirachi EX. See what card I'd like to be able to grab into, guys. Okay, so I do have the Easy. That can bring that badly damaged Darkrai EX back into our hand. So I think that is what I'm going to go and look for. And let's go and bring out that Shaman EX as well to draw into two new cards. And let's go and retreat to bring out that Seismitoad EX. Use that Quaking Punch attack, hitting our opponent's Sharpedo EX for 30 damage once again, and at the very least allowing us to survive for yet another turn. If we do see a Lysander, that is going to be game for us, but I mean, our opponent's Sharpedo EX definitely seems to be targeting that Darkrai EX. Luckily, I do have the Easy in our hand, and I have the Pokemon Center Lady, so that could work in our favor, but I think we only have a single energy card remaining in our deck, with the exception of the Double Colors energy, which I do believe happens to be prized. Looks like we're going to see Pokemon Center Lady. The opponent unfortunately happens to have one as well. Darkrai EX getting targeted once again. Let's go and easy it back into our hand, and then we can go and bring out that Seismitoad EX. Yeah, I'll definitely be bringing out the Raichu as well. I could bring out, yeah, I think I'd like to bring out the Darkrai EX, or could bring out the Clamperl. Not really sure if that is the Pokemon that I would like to bring out. I mean, I could make use of the Huntail's attack as well as sort of a last resort, even though it can't hit for a whole lot right now. Yeah, let's actually go and bring out the Darkrai EX instead. Quaking Punch our opponent for 30 damage once again. And unfortunately, that's how we're going to end the turn. I would love to bring out that Caldeo EX as the opponent's active Pokemon. If only he was unable to retreat, but unfortunately, our opponent is able to retreat. Keeps targeting our weak Pokemon, but seems to be a game of just which one of us is really able to beat our opponent at a faster rate at this point. I mean, we're just hitting for measly amounts of damage at a time. Let's go and use that Quaking Punch, hitting our opponent's Sharpedo EX for 30 damage yet again. I feel like that Jirachi EX is going to get lured out from the Hunt attack. The opponent bringing down their own Jirachi EX, the Lysander, so that is going to be it, guys. So I'm going to go and say GG to the opponent. That Jirachi EX happens to be our downfall. So it looks like we're actually going to be going on to a game 3. So this has been some very intense games. Well, not so much the first game just because it was so incredibly one-sided, but I'm actually quite excited to see how things end up. So let's go and send a final challenge to Pokedecks, and yeah, so we'll see how this final battle ends up. So wish me luck, guys, and I really hope you guys are enjoying this video. I know it's a bit of a long one, but yeah, so it's been fun collaborating with our opponent, and I know that a lot of you guys initially had some slightly negative feedback based on the collaboration that I had done with a Blue Golf Ball, just because a lot of you guys didn't really like the entire co-commentary thing that we did. So that's why I've resorted back to regular commentary from both sides from both points of view essentially. And doesn't look like our opponent is accepting, so let's go and send him another challenge quickly. and hope that he's actually receiving it. Hopefully his computer didn't crash or anything like that. I don't think it would have, but maybe the opponent's just looking for their deck. I'm not really sure what's going on the other side of the screen. And okay, it looks like the final battle is going to be underway. Let's see which one of us will be able to start first this time around. Looks like Razark is going to be able to flip. It's going to be 8 tails, and of course he's going to take the opportunity to go first. We're going to start off with the Jirachi EX. Okay, that is a fantastic start. Of course, I'm being sarcastic. Possibly the worst way to ever start with any Pokemon, really. I mean, Jirachi EX's sole purpose in a deck is for it to be to pretty much use its Stellar Guidance ability, and when you start off with it, that pretty much means that the Jirachi EX has said a big fat screw you to you. So we're gonna see an Eviolite getting latched onto that Kangaskhan EX and a Darkness Energy. Hopefully I don't see a Floatstone getting latched onto that Caldex EX, but again, that Darkrai EX is at play for the opponent, so that Caldex EX should for the most part be able to freely retreat. Alright, let's see what I should grab into, guys. I'm gonna go and use that computer search, get rid of the teammates for now. I will definitely be making use of that Shauna. And I'm trying to think what I would like to grab into. Definitely another Pokemon I think would be the best option. I mean, Shauna is a pretty solid card. Let's go and get rid of that Huntail as well, guys. And what Pokemon would I like to grab into? I think Darkrai EX would be a pretty solid option. Should at the very least allow that Jirachi EX to freely retreat. Again, I'm a little bit reluctant with respects to attaching that Headringer onto that Caldex EX. I think instead I'm going to go and attach it to the Darkrai EX. Seemed to give us a whole lot of trouble during our last game. Let's go and use that Shauna, Trainer's Mail, and Muscle Band or a Pokemon Center Lady. I think we're going to go for a Muscle Band. Let's go and latch that Muscle Band onto that Darkrai EX. I'm going to go and attach a Darkness Energy to him as well, and that is going to be how we end the turn. Now, unless we see both a double colorless energy and a heads on the opponent's part, our Jirachi EX should be able to survive, so I think we're relatively safe for now. So I'm going to hold off on attaching any Darkness Energy cards onto that Jirachi EX. I mean, it's also a bit of a waste of an energy attachment for our turn, so I definitely am a little bit reluctant with respects to that. Let's go and attach an additional energy card onto that Darkrai EX. Professor Birch's Observation and Awesome. Looks like we're going to get a heads this time around. A Caldex EX. Always a nice Pokemon to grab onto. The Acrobike. Let's grab an energy card as opposed to the energy switch instead, and I think that's how we're going to go and end the turn for now. The opponent only has a single energy card attached to that Kangaskhan EX for now, so that is kind of nice, but not really sure how things are going to go. The opponent has a whole ton of cards in their hand. I'm sure at the very least one of them will be an energy card, or at least some sort of draw supporter card, so that the opponent can eventually draw onto some more energy cards. But our Darkrai EX should be loaded up and ready to go eventually, hitting for those big 110 damages. I mean, it doesn't seem like a whole lot, but just the fact that it's able to snipe some of our opponent's bench Pokemon as well, that is actually 140 damage for 3 energy cards. That's actually pretty good and can definitely pay off. We are seeing that ugly Sharpedo EX make its appearance. I'm sorry, I just didn't really like it because it really did a number on us during the last game. Actually should have been a Pokemon that I should have more heavily considered running in our deck. We're seeing that Shadow Circle, the Acrobike, allowing the opponent to draw onto an additional card and of course force one of them into his discard pile. Looks like that Kangaskhan EX is mainly going to be used for that triple draw attack. Let's go and attach that Floatstone onto that Caldex EX, and I think we're finally going to be able to start attacking with that Darkrai EX. I think I'm going to go and attach... no, you know what, let's go and actually attach a Darkness Energy card onto him. Don't think I really need to use the N right now. Could be more useful in a couple of different situations. Shaman EX, I'm going to hold off on him for the time being as well, just because it can easily get Lysandered out by that Sharpedo EX. So let's go and bring out that Darkrai EX, use that Night Spear attack, hitting that Kangaskhan EX for 90 damage, and we're going to go and snipe off that Sharpedo EX as well. Alright, so let's see what the opponent decides to do. Hoping that we can get rid of that Kangaskhan EX, that Sharpedo EX may be making an appearance during this turn, possibly trying to target one of our bench Pokemon. Luckily though, we do have the Caldex EX with the Floatstone attachment, so we should be relatively safe for the most part. Looks like we're going to see a Dowsing Machine, Energy Switch. Yeah, Sharpedo EX is going to make its appearance and of course make use of the Jagged Fang attack, hitting us for 100 damage. Luckily we do have the Pokemon Center Lady card in our hand, so we'll be able to heal off the vast majority of the damage inflicted on us. Let's go and attach a Darkness Energy card onto that Darkrai EX one more time. I think now would be a pretty good time for Shaman EX. I do want some new cards in our hand. And okay, so I do have the VS Seeker, could potentially use it eventually to grab onto that Pokemon Center Lady again. Let's go and use that Night Spirit attack, hitting our opponent's Sharpedo EX for 90 damage. Kangaskhan EX does have the Eviolite attached to it, so I don't think I'm going to attack it for a measly 10 damage. Let's instead go and target the opponent's Keldeo EX. Okay, so I would say things are going quite well for us this time around. But again, it's way too early for us to be able to determine any sort of winner. But I would really love to be able to have the Yveltal EX available in our deck this time around, as opposed to the last game where that was unfortunately not the case for us. Let's go and once again look for that Pokemon Center Lady and then heal off quite a bit of damage from that Darkrai EX. Let's go and attach an additional Darkness Energy card onto him. We only have the Huntail in our discard pile, so I'm going to hold off on the Sacred Ash for now. Let's go and use Night Spear, knocking out the opponent's Sharpedo EX, and then we're going to go and hit that Keldeo EX for 30 damage once again. That will allow us to snatch 2 prize cards. If we do have a Lysander, we could get the one-hit knockout on the opponent's Keldeo EX, because it only has a measly 110 HP remaining. Yeah, so things are definitely looking very good for us thus far. I will definitely be bringing out the Mewtwo EX and slowly getting it ready by attaching some water energy cards to him. So hopefully this is our game. It seems like it's definitely going quite well for us. I mean, we've inflicted a whole ton of damage to our opponent's Pokemon, but again, he has some Pokemon Center Ladies as well, so he can significantly lower the rate at which those Darkrai EXs are able to attack. We're seeing a double Colorless Energy getting latched onto the opponent's Darkrai EX. That's Sycamore, so the opponent has gotten rid of a whole ton of cards in their hand. But I think I'm going to start picking off that Darkrai EX, but which one of his Pokemon is the opponent going to switch into? I mean, if he switches into that Darkrai EX, he will prevent us from being able to take any prize cards, but it seems like that is going to be his next attacker. Probably going to switch into that Mewtwo EX, I think. Yeah, so it looks like that's going to be the case. I'll definitely be picking off the opponent's benched Darkrai EX, though. So let's go and bring out our own Mewtwo EX. I'm going to go and attach a Water Energy card to him. Again, we have a pretty good hand, so I'm not going to use either the N or the Colress. Let's go and use that Night Spirit attack, hitting the Mewtwo EX for 110 damage, and that Darkrai EX for 30 damage as well. So the damage is definitely starting to build up. I don't think our opponent is actually running any max potions. If he was, he would really be able to undo a whole lot of the damage that we have brought upon him thus far. So that could be a bit of a blow to us as well, but I think we should be relatively safe for the most part. Alright, so let's see what our opponent decides to do. Maybe if he brings out another Pokemon, he'll be able to stall a little bit. Maybe I'll try and snipe off that Mewtwo EX. I'm not entirely sure. But again, I feel like this time around, things are definitely looking much more so in our favor as opposed to Pokedecks' favor. Alright, so currently just waiting to see what our opponent decides to do. He may have some supporter cards that he's really deciding which one would be the best move for this particular situation. Personally, I don't really know what would be the best move. I mean, there's just a whole lot of damage stacked up on our opponent's bench Pokemon and his active Pokemon as well. A Lysander would definitely not be a good card in this situation as well, just because, of course, that Keldeo EX is always able to rush in and out. Pikachu, we do have a fully loaded bench, so it could actually be a pretty good Pokemon for the most part. Let's go and actually attach a Silver Bangle to him as well. Again, only a Huntail in our discard pile, but I'm going to go and attach an additional Water Energy card onto that Mewtwo EX. Even though it does have the Jamming Net, should still be able to hit for quite a bit of damage to that Darkrai EX should our opponent eventually decide to bring it out. Let's go and use that Night Spear. 110 damage once again, and hitting that Darkrai EX for an additional 30 damage. And awesome, looks like we're going to be able to draw onto that Raichu, so that is quite nice. We only have a single double Colorless Energy though, due to that restriction. Otherwise, that Raichu may have just been the savior for us in this battle, allowing us to win the game. Of course, that Darkrai EX still needs one more Darkness Energy card for him to be able to attack, and even so, it falls 10 HP short from being able to knock out our own Darkrai EX. Unfortunately, for Pokedecks, not a single prize card has been drawn by him. We've actually seen a couple of our energy cards go into that discard pile, of course, because of the early assault by the opponent's Sharpedo EX. Not actually sure if our opponent has one of his his Soul Evital EX prized. I'm thinking that's probably the likely scenario. Alright, looks like we're going to see teammates. This is a pretty much make it or break it move for our opponent. I mean, if he doesn't draw onto the right cards, we'll definitely be able to win the game. We don't have a Lysander in our hand right now, so things could still go either way, but again, we just have a massive advantage on the opponent thus far. And that Mewtwo EX has the jamming net, just something that I should keep in mind. If it had the Headringer, it wouldn't be able to attack, but it only has the jamming net, so it should be able to attack during our next turn. We're seeing an additional energy card getting latched on to that Darkrai EX, but again, it's still 10 HP short from being able to knock out our own Darkrai EX. Our Darkrai EX is of course 10 HP short from being able to knock out the opponent's Darkrai EX as well. Alright, so let's go and bring out that Pikachu. 120 damage, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 120. I'm just calculating minus 40, so it could only be able to hit our opponent's Darkrai EX for a measly 80 damage at the time being. But we won the game anyways. Sorry, I completely forgot that I had the escape rope, so I'm gonna go and say GG to the opponent. Unfortunately, that is going to be it. I'm gonna bring out the Keldeo EX. Of course, it has the Float Stone attached to it, and none of our opponent's bench Pokemon unfortunately have enough HP to withstand another attack from that Darkrai EX. Just in case I miscalculated, I'm gonna go and attach an energy card to that Mewtwo EX, knock out our opponent's Keldeo EX, and hit that Darkrai EX for a little bit of damage as well. And that looks like it is going to be it, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's been quite fun to make a really interesting challenge that was suggested by one of you. So thank you guys very much for watching. All the links to both my channel and Pokedecks channel will be provided in the description section down below, so be sure to check out both of our deck lists and of course both of our points of view with respects to the videos. And if you guys did enjoy this collaboration, please be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. So that is pretty much going to be it, guys. So thank you guys very much for watching, and again, if you guys did enjoy this video, please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time.